This coming up February will be Super Bowl 57. So we have seen a lot of different locations throughout the years, but usually Super Bowls are either played in a place where they can shut the roof or they play in a warm weather climate. So I don't know why the other day it got me thinking, why don't they ever return to classic college stadiums to play Super Bowls at? And I think the simple answer is the NFL has just blown up in popularity. I mean, it is beyond more popular than it was 20 years ago. And many teams have got new stadiums throughout the years, and they're, of course, bigger and better than they ever were before with more amenities, etc. Why not go back to a classic college stadium? Because to me, they have so much character and they're just so cool to return to, especially for a big event like the Super Bowl. Now, throughout the years, there have been many Super Bowls played in college stadiums, most notably in the Orange Bowl in Miami, Stanford College in California, the Rose Bowl, which is in Pasadena, California, and of course the LA Coliseum. Again, I may be missing one or two in there somewhere, but those are kind of the most notable ones that I remember. And I think it'd be really cool if the NFL decided to return to one of these classic stadiums that are still standing, like the Rose Bowl or the LA Coliseum, or even a new location, but it would still be a classic stadium. So we already have the next 3 Super Bowl locations already locked in. This coming up Super Bowl will be in Arizona at the Cardinal Stadium. The year after that will be in Vegas at the Raiders' new stadium. And the year after that will be in New Orleans in the Superdome. So obviously the NFL has certain standards and certain amenities that have to be met to host a Super Bowl nowadays. And I think even back in the day, but definitely more so now than ever. But some of these classic stadiums still can meet these big amenities. And I know that there are state-of-the-art stadiums usually near these classic stadiums, but again, to me, it would just be really cool to see a Super Bowl being played, say, at the Rose Bowl. Now, don't just make it any Super Bowl, make it like a big mile marker Super Bowl, like Super Bowl 60 or Super Bowl 70. If we get to a Super Bowl 100, how cool would it be to return to the LA Coliseum? How realistic is it to return to, say, the LA Coliseum or the Rose Bowl? Probably not too realistic due to SoFi Stadium being right there in Los Angeles. They're just going to play at SoFi Stadium. It's state of the art, and I get it. But to me, that's just no fun. It really isn't. I want a old classic stadium that can hold almost 100,000 people. Why not return to some of these old stadiums that still exist? I know Stanford's been tore down and rebuilt. The Orange Bowl is gone. LA Coliseum's still there. The Rose Bowl's still there. And I also had the thought, too, of 2 Southern schools that could host a Super Bowl. That would be really cool to see. I'm sorry, Midwest schools, it's just way too cold in February. Again, it takes, a dome stadium in a location like Minnesota or something to host a Super Bowl. And obviously, college stadiums don't do that other than a very select few. So I thought, why not go down to either Louisiana or Alabama? Could you imagine a Super Bowl being played at Tiger Stadium in Louisiana? 1, the stadium is almost 100 years old, and 2, it holds 102,000 people. Just think about that for a second. You could have 102,000 people at a Super Bowl. How cool would that be? And it's obviously one of the more state-of-the-art facilities and stadiums in college football. Why not have a Super Bowl there in Louisiana? I know New Orleans is right around there. I understand it, but I gotta tell you, I am sick of watching Super Bowls in the Superdome. That's just my personal opinion. We've had enough there. Let's go somewhere different. And if you're worried about the weather, I looked up the average weather in February in Louisiana. It's like in the mid 60s. And on average, it only rains like 7-8 days out of that month. So why not take a risk and try to play at Tiger Stadium? And the next one that I kind of mentioned before is Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And kind of for the same things that I just went on with the LSU Stadium. The one here in Alabama, it holds 100,000 people. The stadium's nearly also 100 years old. And it would just be a ton of fun to see a Super Bowl being played in Alabama where there is no professional football team at all. And I think it would just be really cool to see a Super Bowl, 1, being hosted in a college stadium again, and 2, be in Alabama, be neat to see in a whole new state that's never hosted a Super Bowl. And 3, have 100,000 people at a Super Bowl. And just for reference, SoFi Stadium, which is, the state-of-the-art stadium you can have in the NFL right now, only has a capacity of 70,000 people. Now, this is mainly due to them having more press boxes and suites and so forth, right? That's where the big money is, and I get that. But it's kind of not really marketing to the average person, which is very unfortunate in my opinion. Where if you have a Super Bowl, say, Day at Tiger Stadium, that is pretty much 100,000 average people going to that stadium and that Super Bowl, because there's not a lot of suites there. I mean, I know there's all those amenities, but it's just not as much as SoFi. So that's 30,000 more people that can go to a Super Bowl. Just think about that for a second. And the capacity at SoFi is similar to all the newer stadiums that are state of the art in the NFL, like AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys. It's right around there. I think it bumps up a little bit more than SoFi. Yeah, AT&T Stadium has a capacity of 80,000 people, and it says it's expandable to 105,000. Not sure if that's for like concerts and such. I would assume so. But really, all these new stadiums are built with suites and press boxes in mind, not really for the average person. And I think it would just be a really cool call it of the past and have a Super Bowl in a classic college stadium. And I'm sure there are a ton of other college stadiums that could host a Super Bowl, has all the amenities around it and so forth. But these are just a few that kind of came to my head that have good weather and really wouldn't have to worry too much about being, 25 degrees and possibly snowing. Yeah, maybe it'd rain in Louisiana or Alabama or something like that. But, it's also football. Play with the elements. It's not that big of a deal. Now I understand that the NFL is probably never going to go back to a classic college stadium to play a Super Bowl, but you know what? I felt this way for a long time. I wanted to make this video, so here we are today. I think it'd be really cool to see. I think it'd be a ton of fun to have a Super Bowl back in one of the stadiums I mentioned, and insert however many other stadiums you want to bring up down in the comment section. I just think it'd be really cool to see. And again, I think it would be cool, like a landmark Super Bowl, you return to a classic college stadium. Like I said, like Super Bowl 65 or 70 or 85 or 100 or something like that. I think this would be a great way to actually have more people show up to the game and give the more average person an opportunity to show up to the Super Bowl. And I think that is just a win all around for everyone involved. So with all that said, what are your thoughts on returning to a classic college football stadium for a Super Bowl? I want to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until next time, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.